Thank you. Now tonight, we're talking about hitting, laying a hand on someone, and leaving marks on them that many parents call it discipline. We're talking about spanking. It's the only effective punishment. This is the only effective punishment for the child. Believe me. I'll give you my view on spanking at the end of the show. But that doesn't stop me from giving you guys what I think about this, because spanking is wrong. And if you look at examples of when to spank your child, and many parents would say, "Oh, I think you need to spank." And there's plenty of websites. TimeMagazine.com has an answer for that. We advise parents culpable discipline should only be applied in cases of willful disobedience and defiance of authority. Never for more childish irresponsibility. It should never be administered harshly, impulsively, or with the potential to cause physical harm. And why do you guys spank? The main reasons parents give for spanking their children are to make children more compliant and how to promote better behavior, especially to put a stop on children's aggressive behaviors. Research has shown that spanking in any form is associated with the opposite effect. There are 3 types of discipline: preventive, supportive, and corrective discipline. I want to focus in on spanking because this is the very Because really, spanking is just all about hitting your child. I mean, that's what all parents have in terms. Like, this doesn't work, what can I do? Well, I'm going to tell you what you can do and what other ways you can do, which is why this is the very first video on the show. It's a parenting class. So parents, I want your undivided attention. Stop what you're doing, pull up a chair, and watch this show. This is a very important teaching tool for you to understand. Hey, maybe there's other ways I can. There are other ways I can discipline my child besides threatening them. I got spanked several times, and to this day, I'm confused whether my mom loves me or hates me. And if you guys have stories of when you spanked your child or when you were spanked, I want to hear your story. I want to hear your story in the comment section, and I'll reply to your stories. But I want to focus on the science of spanking. Like, I also want to talk about why does it happen and what are the effects. Spanking is less effective than positive parenting. There are compelling factors. They resort to spanking because their kids are particularly aggressive and defiant, which means the causation is theoretical. Child aggression can trigger spanking, and spanking can make kids more aggressive. That doesn't mean spanking is a good way to handle defiance. It makes it hard to tell how much of a child's behavior problems are caused by spanking. It's also evident that the effects of spanking are moderated by culture. Kids experience greater harm in societies where corporal punishment is less commonplace. Corporal punishment is linked with sorts of behavior problems, including aggression, paranoia, school failure, poor emotional regulation, and low empathy. Those are the studies. How do we explain these? The possibility that corporal punishment. How do we explain these links? One possibility is that corporal punishment contributes to the development of problems. In other words, maybe spanking makes children's behavior worsen over time. But how can you prove it? But there are ways you can rule it out. It's like this. You just want to. That's the only way you can do it. It's like if you were spanked as a kid, then you're like, okay, when I raise my kids, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to spank them. And after this video airs, after this video goes on YouTube, there's going to be a lot of debate going on whether I should try this and say I should try that. But I'm going to provide you parents out there with links to every video, a full talk show episode from Queen Latifah about spanking and what you should do, and a 2020 report from 1992 about spanking and what else you can do. But there's lots of other ways, and that's why I'm going to devote this entire show, not just to spanking, but only to spanking, and asking the question: is spanking children an effective consequence? The reason why is because other parents don't ever teach. It's just not an effective game changer. It's not okay to spank, period. I know the Bible says, he that spareth his rod hateth his son, but loves him. That's what the Bible says, what the nursery rhyme says. Withhold not correction from the child. He'll do better if thou beatest him with the rod. Like again, on topic of the I'm talking about religion and nursery rhymes. Okay, when we come back, we're going to tell you. Okay, on topic here, we got to take a break. Okay, when we come back, we're going to tell you about the problems of spanking and we're going to tell you alternatives to spanking, and we're going to tell you other ways that you can discipline your child with the help of Dr. Phil. Please don't go away. If you're just joining us, tonight's show is all about spanking and other ways to discipline your kids. Now, there are other problems with spanking. I'll tell you right now. Here's why it's not an effective game changer. It confuses the child and teaches them nothing. That is confusing to a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old, and yet, bam, you hit them. It's like, I don't know. This is the person I came to who loves me, who loves me. She was my soft place to fall, and bam, you're inflicting pain on me. And there's other problems with it too. It doesn't teach appropriate behavior. It models aggression. It creates shame. It shifts focus to the parent's behavior. It loses effectiveness over time. It doesn't work for older kids and teens, and it's not doctor recommended. According to a 2018 survey of pediatricians published by the Journal of Pediatrics, 6% of doctors surveyed endorsed spanking. Only 2.5% have anticipated positive outcomes from the use of discipline practice. The goal of discipline is just to teach your child what's right and what's wrong. And there's lots of other ways that parents can, you guys out there spanked your kids. You had a belt, you would leave marks on them. Wood splinters. That is a form of child abuse. And if I was there and I saw that happening, I would directly call the police. They would do an investigation. They would call CPS. And your child would be in foster care before you can say, please, I'm a good mother. I love my kids. I would never hit them. I only spank because I love them. Now you may have said, oh, I read the books. Like, oh, the experts should be about dinner time, this and that. I've read the books. I've talked with experts. I've talked with my doctor. What doctor are you going to that says, hey, spank your child because if it doesn't work, spank your child. Now, there is a thing back in 1994 from Oprah. This legislator, this person, this congresswoman wanted to make a law and make spanking legal. Like, I think spanking should be against the law. It should be against the law in every state. In every state. Texas, Missouri, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, whatever. Every state has its own rule on child abuse. If you hit your child, whether with a hand or with a belt, whatever, that's a form of child abuse. They start an investigation, call CPS, and then a lot of the times, you as a parent will have to decide whether you want help or you want your child taken away. Because let me tell you something. I don't encourage spanking. I don't encourage spanking. I don't tolerate spanking. And thank goodness I will not spank my kids when I have children. Never. And if you just hit your child, you're not doing anything possible. You're just simply, that's what you're doing. You're leaving bruises and marks on your child, saying you want to teach you it's okay not to hit. That is unacceptable. That is an unacceptable discipline. And for you to sit there saying, well, it works for my child, and he's never been aggressive towards me, it worked for my teen so-and-so, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a form of abuse, and if it continues, you as a parent will lose your children. They'll be in foster care, and you're going to sit on that couch wondering, maybe I should have listened to the experts or my doctor. Maybe I should have tried other ways. And that's really a little bit later, but there's more coming in break when we come back. If you just joined us, this is not the first time that many talk shows have done this. Lots of other talk shows have done it. Maury, Springer, Dr. Phil. I'm some of the first YouTubers who ever talk about this issue, about spanking. And in a few weeks, coming like in a few days or weeks or whatever, I'm going to have the children and the parents come forward and simply say, apologize to the kids, apologize to the parents and say, look, I want an apology from you for you spanking me all these years, and this and that and the other. And if you want to come on the show to tell your story, or you just want to, or if you have a story you'd like to share, post it in the comments, and and we'll do an update sometime in a week or sometime next month, or during a Halloween special. Yes, this is a very important show for all parents. So again, I want you undivided attention. I want you to sit down, grab some popcorn or whatever. This is not for the kids. So for your kids watching, if you're watching, leave the room. I want you to leave the room right now, and I'll tell you when it's okay to come back in. Every time you parents out there spank, you're teaching them that it's okay to hit. It's like, if you hit this person, I'm going to hit you. You hit your child, then I'm going to spank you. It does nothing. And I'm angry at you parents out there who just want to say, well, my mom and dad spanked me, so I think it's a good discipline tool. It's not. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it is not an effective game changer. You don't want me asking, would you do what your mother told you to do and spank your kids? If my mom and dad taught me that spanking is okay, I would simply say, no, I'm not going to do it. Thank God they didn't teach me how to, thank God. Thank God. Thank God that thank God that my mom did not teach me to spank. And thank God I will not have children. Mainly it's you guys who are to blame for your kids. You're leaving marks and bruises and you're not doing anything about it. One day if that happens, that child can pick up the phone, call CPS, and simply say, and simply just cry and say, my mom hit me, left me bruises, blah blah blah, and then have someone take a picture of those bruises, and it's like, they come and do an investigation, and after that, it would be up to the state, wherever you live, to basically take away your child, put him in foster care, and simply you be sitting on a couch saying, what have I done? You and your husband would just sit there, like basically it's on the moms and dads. Dads, you be sitting on the couch crying with your wife saying, why would we do this? We want them back. There are lots of ways you can get your kids back. It all depends on if you complete parenting classes in your state. And once you pass your completed classes, then it'll be up to the state to decide whether you get your kids back. And this is a parenting class that you should watch together as a couple. I know you guys out there want to simply say like, oh, we'll do this first and that doesn't work, then we'll do this instead. If that doesn't work, then we'll go on with the spanking. It's like plan A, plan B, plan C. There are other ways that you as a parent advocate there can discipline your child. And there's lots of other ways, so and Dr. Phil is one for spanking, and I told you guys I told you guys that it's very confusing to a child, and it teaches them nothing. And there is a checklist that Dr. Phil has created back in 2011. Number 1, you have to commit self-discipline. Give people the consequences of their actions. They need to know what A, B happens. They also got to know what C and D happens. And you also have to be realistic in your expectations. You don't send a 2-year-old to go clean and dust the furniture. You simply just tell them what you want them to do. Set clear rules, but not too many. You as parents out there have got to learn to lighten up. You don't need certain rules. You need to lighten up and pick and choose your battles carefully. Also, you have to define your child's currency. They gotta know that it's a privilege. Maybe it's watching a video, playing video games, a stuffed toy. And use child-level logic. So once you hit that child, you can't go back and change it. You can't go back in time and change the way you discipline your kids, or the way you were disciplined back then, because that is something that will be with you for the rest of your life. And once you hit that child, you're going to look yourself in the mirror and say, what has my mom ever done to me? What did my mom do to me when I was a kid? What else can I do to make sure that I can change? Again, I will provide you guys with helpful links to Oprah, Dr. Phil. That way y'all can look at this and say, wow, I never knew that this could happen. That's why I'm here to help you. This is not simply throwing you guys on the bus. You guys are loving, you guys are nurturing to these children. And you're basically doing what a lot of people ever do. So, with that in mind, let's look at this survey of spanking. Or what I call the spanking survey. A survey last year there was a survey from these questions from this website. Were you spanked or otherwise physically spanked as a child? 93% said yes. 6% said no. Quarter of them time out for 10 minutes. Second question. Do you feel like punishments you received as a child be classified as abuse? 88% said no, while 9% said yes. Thank goodness. Are you grateful for the type of upbringing you received as a child? 90% said yes. Most of the ones said no. It's like a pie chart. And this is just basically questions for all kids. And I'll probably ask the kids for probably the near future. And I will provide you guys with a survey in the link in the description for you guys to answer. These are 10 questions to help you understand that there are other ways to spank. And there's other research out there that still continue to this day. And sometimes in the near future, I'll talk to parents, and sometimes in the near future, I'll talk to kids to help them understand. After the break, I'll let you know other disciplining guides, especially Commando Parenting. Let me take this opportunity to thank you parents out there for joining in on this class, and I hope that one day you'll share this class with everyone and do the same thing. Now, before we go, there's another thing I want to talk to you about. It is Commando Parenting. When you get children that are entitled or something like that, they have to learn that those things are privileges and have to be earned a step at a time. Like if your child doesn't listen to you, there's other ways you can do besides spanking. Give them a timeout. Take away a privilege. Strip their room of everything except a bed, a blanket, and a pillow. That's it. I mean, you have required as a parent to stay. Provide your child with a warm and dry, stable environment with food, education, and money values. It does have to have posters on the wall, television, video games, computers, laptops. Those are all privileges. And if your child wants those things, it has to be earned a step at a time. It's just basically like this. When you choose behavior, you choose the consequences. If your child decides to play hardball, then you have got to be strong as a parent. I don't believe in spanking, and thank goodness if I do, then this will be a whole other show. Again, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but there is a line there is a fine line between spanking and abusing your children. Y'all parents are saying, "Oh, we don't cross that line." Maybe in the near future we'll look at some articles about parents being arrested for child abuse and the kids being in foster care. That's in the near future. That's all for this edition of Cut Me a Break Saturday. We'll see you again for Cut Me a Break Monday. And again, before I go, I want to say I'm not throwing you under the bus. You are loving, caring, and nurturing to these children. And there are other ways to discipline your kids. Good night, everyone.